Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Shedeur. Hope I said his name right. Sanders, the son of Coach Deion Sanders at Colorado. Man, I think he messed up his classroom, Instagram, live behavior. We're going to discuss that and exactly what people are saying, what I'm seeing. Tell me what you're saying, all that stuff. If you stumbled across this channel on YouTube, please hit the like button and mainly subscribe. We gotta get the subscribe numbers up, so please take about 3 seconds and just hit the subscribe button right there. Just subscribe to it. This podcast is also on Apple and Spotify. Follow and rate it there. It helps grow it. Follow at Coach_Steve72 on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. The Coach Steve Show on X or Twitter. The Coach Steve Show on Instagram, Coach Steve72 on Instagram, and Coach Steve72 on TikTok. Leave comments in the comment section down below. Tell me your thoughts on this situation we're about to discuss. We haven't talked about Colorado football on here in a while. I've been seeing this, probably a little bit late to the game. Thought about it, have some different thoughts. What better way to get it out than here? So leave comments. I will do my best to reply about your thoughts, educating me on certain things that I have not thought about, make certain points that I have not thought about. So let's talk about it. At Colorado, a professor emailed Coach Sanders about their behavior in class, about them not showing up to class. When they are there, they're disruptive. And he blasted that guy or the whole team in the team meeting room, put it on social media. And some people had a problem with this because they feel like they should not be called out like that, it should be private. That part I understand, but I think you also then have to address the whole team and say, is this how we're going to represent our program? He then goes on to discuss how 90 to 96% of these players in that room are not going to go on and play the NFL. Maybe they could play in the spring league, but he told them they are not going to probably play in the NFL. It's just the low percentage of college athletes that do go on to play at the next level. I personally had no problem with this, him setting the expectations, saying you have to focus on education. I know you're getting paid here with name, image, and likeness. You're getting a scholarship to be here, but if the scholarship part, you have to hold up your end of the deal, and you got to get the grades. You've got to have something to fall back on. If that NFL life does not happen, that name, image, and likeness money may not last forever. And so that whole spiel, that whole talk, I personally had no problem with. A lot of people didn't seem to have a problem with it. Now, other people, if coaches have done something like this in the past, they have been criticized for it. So I hope when people say this, hopefully they're not saying, oh, just because it's Deion, that this is okay. No, I personally had no problem with it. I don't know if anybody out there had a problem with it, with him calling out the whole team. And I'm not, the audio is kind of faded on it, so I'm not exactly sure if he said the player's name. Maybe he did. That part, you can make a discussion and a point in that he shouldn't call out the player like that in front of everybody. That part should have been private. That part we can have a discussion and a debate on, but I personally did not see an issue with this. But the issues to follow is his own son, who is the starting quarterback for Colorado, Shedeur Sanders. He goes to class, an in-person class, for the very first time, maybe in his college career, and he goes there and he does an Instagram live while class is going on. And I think he just did it because he's a big social media guy, YouTube, all that stuff. And that's just part of the game now. They can make money in so many different ways, and God bless them. So happy they should have the same opportunity. They could start a podcast just like this and make money. But where this looks bad, and maybe the timeline is wrong, You go on Instagram Live and you are the son of primetime. You are the son of Coach Shedeur Sanders. He just got through criticizing people in a team room about the expectations and how you're supposed to act in the classroom. Coach Shedeur Sanders has not been shy about how he thinks and knows his son's going to go to the NFL, and Travis Hunter. He's even come out and said they should only play for these specific teams. I respect Shedeur Sanders. I think he is doing what he can do to try to build a team quickly. And he's doing it, as far as I know, because there's really no rules to break. He's doing it within the frame that the NCAA has now thus created for the college football landscape. We saw the biggest transfer portal turnover last year. He's had some coaching changes this year and still some portal stuff happening again this year. The things I've been seeing are your Coach Shedeur Sanders. How are you allowing your kid to go into class and be on his phone and do an Instagram Live? And today, to discuss this topic, I have gone back and forth on, is he just letting his kids or his kid do whatever he wants? Because in his statement to the whole team, saying most of you are not going to the NFL, so you need to fall back on education. He's saying that his son is going to the NFL. Does this mean he thinks his son should not fall back on class and his education? That's what I saw a lot of. I even at first put that into my mind. But then I had to remember when I watched the documentary on him in that first season at Jackson State, and he discussed coaching his sons, saying that he has to know when to switch it to coach prime and being dad. And when you watch the documentary, I personally think he did a good job of coaching his kids and being dad and being the coach. But ever since he got to Colorado, there's been swirls about treatment of his son, treatment of Travis Hunter, and everything else. Was going back and forth, and just the way Shedeur carries himself and talks and acts, it's really hard for me to sit here and say that he actually gives his son this extra treatment. We could sit there and discuss, well, he's a starting quarterback. They only won X amount of games. Why is he the starting quarterback? Blah, 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 blah. He actually didn't play too bad. There's definitely room for improvement, and he'd probably be the first one to tell you that his son could definitely improve. But the big criticism here is that we saw the Instagram Live, and we really haven't seen anything come out from Colorado or Shedeur Sanders about his son. And should he be punished or whatever? If he's going to do anything to punish his kid, we don't need to see it on social media. Oh, but he showed him calling out to the whole team. I get it. He's not perfect. I think he put that out there for regular fans. I think he put that out there for other coaches because we love that stuff. Everybody, for the most part, I saw was very positive about it when they retweeted it, put it on X, Instagram. Some have their opinions. I think this falls more on Shedeur than it does Coach Shedeur Sanders. Now Sanders said because of COVID, because of how college works, for a lot of college athletes, they can take online classes. He's gone to campus for the first time, but the way it was portrayed at first is that he never goes to class, and they portrayed it as he finally went to class. But it was also reported that he goes to online classes, and that can be a debate, as well as athletes getting treated way differently than the regular gen ed kid, which I also think is fair and unfair at the same time. Because if you're an athlete, you are bringing money into the institution. You are at 5, 6 a.m. meetings, workouts, all this extra stuff that the gen ed population doesn't have to do. You are held to a different GPA standard. And then you also have to know the plays. You got to go to practice. And especially now with name, image, and likeness, you've got extra things that you got to do. And if you're Colorado, you are constantly under the radar. And that's the reason why somebody like me even knows, because it's posted everywhere. I think this falls more back on him. And I'd like to sit here and believe that Deion Sanders had a conversation with him and said, listen, I know you are probably going to go to the NFL. Don't know where you're going to be drafted, but you're probably going to go to the NFL. You have the talent, but you cannot be going on Instagram Live showing that you don't have your materials for class and put into that situation because you're going to be criticized at every turn. You know, a part of me wanted to come on here and say that Deion, we could talk about parenting, we could talk about all that stuff. To me, on the outside looking in, he has been a good dad. He has been there. He has put them into situations to succeed in life. And he talked about how he has money, but it puts them in a good spot. But it's his money, right? Kind of almost like what Shaq does with his kids, saying, you're not rich, I'm rich. So we can sit here and discuss parenting. We could sit here and discuss how his kid's getting different treatment. Where is our proof to show that the kid is getting more treatment? Well, he's the starting quarterback. He's probably the best quarterback on there. So we don't have, that's a hard debate to have. Do we know what goes on outside of that after what happened? Maybe it would help if he came out and said, I talked to him about being a leader and we cannot do these things. Probably. That might help a little bit. But it's also in a weird situation of you're also the head coach of Colorado, but you're the dad, right? So when it comes to him, does he want to keep things more in closed doors? Is that fair to the rest of the team that you consider family? But then people talk about, well, if you consider them family, how easy, why would you let people go so easy in the transfer portal, right? Like, so it's just in this weird area for him of dad and coach. And it's been talked about since Jackson State, but it really ramped up when he got to Colorado. So people out there that are watching this or listening to this, let me know what you're thinking, because I was leaning towards you're allowing your son to do this. Shedeur Sanders, you are a leader on this football team. A guy just got called out in the whole team meeting room. You decide to go on Instagram Live to get views, to do whatever. Maybe you don't like school. Most of us don't or did not like school. It is 100% normal. You are probably going to the NFL and probably don't have to complete education, but I am not your father. Prime time is. Is he allowing you to do this? I like to think not. You are a leader. You are a leader on this football team. You have to set the standard and live by what is expected. So if the expectation is you go to class, you're not on your phone, you're not a disruption, you going on Instagram Live and people knowing who you are in class are going to say that. They might videotape you doing it at the same time, and it will blow up into, well, look, this guy got called out. Now you are doing the opposite and doing the exact thing that this guy got called out for. That's not being a leader. Sometimes it sucks being a leader because you have to do things or not do things that you don't want to do. But you are a leader on this football team. You want to lead them to a championship this year or into the playoffs. Show them that you are all together and you cannot do this. Is this a huge, huge, big deal? Yes and no. I don't think the teacher appreciates that you're on Instagram Live back there not paying attention to, or him or her, whoever your teacher is, your professor. I don't think the players that get called out appreciate that, because they're going to say, look, he's doing it where, I don't know what punishment those players got from the email. They got called out. We have no idea what the punishment is. So don't be shocked if we never know what the punishment or talk is to Shedeur. But I do see the side of fair is fair. Call him out in front of everybody. But is he not going to do that? Did the teacher not complain? But it's all over Instagram. It's all over Twitter. Barstool just did a report saying that now they don't like Shedeur because it shows that this is about himself. So steps have been taken here to show that it is kind of all about him. Are the Sanders going to get theirs? But when you listen to Deion talk, how he conducts himself and his interviews, he's consistent. I think we all, for the most part, probably like Deion Sanders. We can have speculations. We can have assumptions. We all know what assumption does to us. It makes an ass out of you and me. So it's hard. Like, that's why I had to really think about this topic, because I do not want to sit here and say that Coach Deion Sanders is allowing this to happen, that he's not trying to take care of it. I mean, I personally don't know if we've seen anything else from Shedeur in the classroom or anything else like that. Hopefully it was taken care of, but I do think fair is fair, and maybe we will see a video one day of that conversation and everything else. So hopefully that's the steps that are taken, and hopefully he sees that if you are truly a team and truly a family with the sports team, you have to hold every single person to that standard and expectation. Son, daughter, whatever it is, you coach them, that is the expectation, especially if they're your kid and you are the head coach, because now it's going to fall back on you. And next year, if you're still at Colorado, are guys going to want to come because they're seeing these type of things? So this type of thing, social media giveth and social media taketh away. And so to me, it's not a good look more for Shedeur because you are the leader, but it can also not be a good look for Deion Sanders as well. But again, like I've said it probably 4 times, I respect him. I would give anything to have a conversation with him for 20 minutes to 30 minutes and learn some things from him, how he conducts himself, how he talks the way he talks, what goes through his brain, how does it, like that type of stuff. I would love to have a conversation with Deion Sanders. So I just think as long as he has a conversation with him and we don't see any more of stuff like that while you're in class after that post, I think we'd be okay. If that post never happened and Shedeur went on Instagram Live, none of this should be a big deal. Maybe he's doing it to get clicks. Maybe he's doing it to get views. Whatever your reasons, that's fine. But do it when you're leaving class, maybe on your way into class, while you're waiting for the professor to go and get started. Or if that if that never happened, we would never have made this, it would never would have been made a bigger deal than what it should have been. So let me know what you guys think about the situation. I know it's not a big deal, but it can be looked at as a big deal in these situations that I have laid forth. So leave comments and let's have a discussion on what you guys think exactly. What does your viewpoint make? Like, from your view, what does this look like? What's your thoughts on it, if you care at all? And then again, I already know this does not make Deion a bad coach, but I do think that when other coaches call this out, they get criticized. He does it and gets praised, but I'm glad he's getting praised because these are real things that happen. They get emails like this all the time, and he wants the standard. Just make sure everybody's held the standard, and that's it. And he knows that. This is not me criticizing Deion at all. I have go look at episodes on here where I have defended Deion time and time again, and I will continue to do that until I have proof otherwise. So leave comments. Tell me from your viewpoint, what does this look like? What do you think? Quick episode. Again, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow and rate on Apple and iTunes. All the affiliates are in the description. Twitter, Coach_Steve72, The Coach Steve Show. Also, Instagram, The Coach Steve Show. Instagram, Coach Steve72. TikTok, Coach Steve72 as well. Biggest thing is subscribe, please. And thank you. Thanks anybody that watched or listened. Leave a comment, tell me what you think, and I'll see you guys later.